All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode of the Money Sense mini workshop. And for those of you who are online, you are also welcome. In case you are a regular member here, that means you are subscribed. You're welcome. And if you're not yet a member, you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do well to subscribe to the channel so that we can get to grow the channel, and you can also get to know when we publish new videos and come to enjoy it. So today's series is going to be on economics, right? And that is important because I always tell people that I am privileged to be that I started my journey the way I did. I have a background in economics. And as far as capitalism, money, resource allocation, and everything that has to do with prosperity is concerned, economics is a foundational course. So just like you have psychology for understanding the mind, you have sociology for understanding how human beings behave and interact, economics is the mother subject that helps you to understand how resources are supposed to be allocated and optimized. So I started my journey as an accountant. I read accounting at the diploma level, and I eventually went on to study economics. And I was privileged to study economics having double major. So I have a major in economics and statistics, right? And what happens is that when you study economics as a foundational course and you're able to understand it, then move into other areas that we call applied economics, you become very profound in really being able to know what's going on. So I was able to move from economics to finance. Currently, I have a postgraduate in finance, and I've done quite a lot in finance, right? Which is a subset of economics. We call finance applied economics, right? So today, basically, what we are going to be studying today is understanding human needs and economic choices. This is the conversation of today: understanding human needs and economic choices, right? So this is very crucial for you. You need to understand exactly what human needs are, and you need to understand the impact of economic choices on yourself and those people that you love. Now, for that to be, we have to start from the foundation, right? And the foundation is a proper definitions of things, especially starting from economics. So basically, what is economics? Economics has different definitions. Adam Smith, one of the fathers of economics, has his own definition, investigation into the things that causes the wealth of nations or the prosperity of nations. We have John Stuart Mill, we have a lot of people. So personally, I define economics this way. This is how I define economics, right? I said that economics is a subject which tries to provide scientific explanations to the nature of man's insatiable wants in the face of limited resources which have alternative uses, alternative applications, right? This is very, very crucial. This definition is very, very crucial because if you understand economics from this light, it becomes easy for you to know exactly how to apportion yourself in face of certain variables, right? So let's look at it. First of all, is that we say that economics is a scientific, it tries to provide scientific explanation because economics is scientific. Economics stands in between science and social science, or science and non-science subjects, right? In economics, we propound theories, we set up hypotheses, we test the hypothesis, we run a lot of research to be able to verify the hypothesis before we can make a conclusion, before we can arrive at a conclusion. Okay, so as a person, you need to understand that economics is something that is very important to you. But the way economics is taught most times prevent people from making the best use of economics in their lives. The way you need to be a student of psychology to be able to understand how the human mind works, to be able to influence people and make people do things. The way you should be able to understand sociology, to be able to understand how human beings interact, how to be a likable person in a social network. That is the way you should have a very deep understanding of economics for you to be able to understand how capital, resources, and all of that move in a particular location. Remember, we said that money sense, right? We said that money sense is your ability to understand what money is, how money works, and how to make money work for you. And we said that in understanding how money works, there are three things you need to understand. You need to understand economics, you need to understand politics, and you need to understand human behavior. These are three things that define how money works in any place. So economics is important. It's quite unfortunate that the way economics is taught in schools prevent people from really understanding how important economics is. But now that you're here, now that you're a member of the community, right, you'll be able to have a superior knowledge and a superior understanding of what economics is all about. Okay? Now, let's look at some of the things that are very important. Number one is man's insatiable want. Insatiable want of man. What that means is that Never you think that you come to a point where all your wants will be satisfied. All your wants can never be satisfied. Your needs can be satisfied, we'll get there, but your wants can never be satisfied. Right? Your wants can never be satisfied. Your wants are insatiable. Right? Now, there is a problem. Right? There's a problem. Your wants are insatiable. The resources that you need to satisfy these, your wants or your needs, right, is limited. Limited, not scarce. That is one thing I need you to understand. You know, in economics, they tell you that resources are scarce. Resources are not scarce. Resources are limited. Now, let's look at definitions, right? Let's look at definitions so that we'll be able to understand what we are saying. Now, let's look at what does it mean for something to be scarce. Okay, let's consult Google, right? Scarce. So scarce simply means food, money, or some other resources to be insufficient for the demand, right? Or when something is not really available. That is when you're looking at scarce. Now, when you're looking at scarcity, one of the things that happens when you look at economics from a standpoint of scarcity is that you will not be able to be creative. You won't be able to apply creativity in figuring out how things can actually be apportioned. Now, when things are limited, when you see that things are limited instead, what happens is that you are able to become creative, because what causes limitation of resources, right? What causes limitation of resources is time, place, location, utility, or use, right? These are the things that causes limitation of resources. Simply means that a particular resource is based on time, based on place, right? Based on, okay, place and location, yes. Place, based on time, based on place, based on location, based on utility. You might not be able to use it for what you want to use it for. You might not be able to use it to create the kind of demand that you have in mind. But that does not mean that it's scarce. Because the subject of scarcity, as it has been taught in economics over the years, has been one of the reasons why economics hardly prosper. People who try to practice economics the way it is taught hardly prosper. They can't think outside of the box. In subsequent classes, I will teach production possibility boundaries, and I'll be able to teach you certain things that can help you understand that instead of looking at resources as scarce, begin to look at resources as limited. That is one of the key definitions, one of the key distinctions I want you to take from this class today. That resources are not scarce. Resources are only limited. If they are limited as a function of time, place, location, and use or utility, the question you need to be asking yourself is, how can you redefine a particular resource so that it can become fit for what you want? Or how can you redefine your demand? Because if you're able to redefine your demand, you'll be able to find a resource that will fit what you want. So apportionment of resources is very important, but you need to understand that your wants are insatiable, right? Your wants are insatiable. Now, despite the fact that your wants are insatiable as a human being, right? Despite the fact that your wants are insatiable as a human being, we have needs. Needs are satisfiable within the face of available resources and your creativeness. You can meet your needs. Despite the fact that your wants, no matter the resources that are available, you can never meet your wants because your wants keep expanding. Definition of your wants keep expanding, right? Your needs can be met. Now, needs are divided into two, right? I say that in my book, I said that needs are divided into basic, right? The basic needs, and we have the non-basic needs, right? Now, these non-basic needs, I also refer to them as improved basic needs. When it comes to the basic needs of man, there are three things that fall into that category, right? Food, clothing, and shelter. They are the things that fall into the category of the basic needs of man. If you can feed yourself, if you can clothe yourself, and if you can have shelter over your head, you have fulfilled the basic need of man, or your basic need as a human being, right? So people who are at the poorest level can fulfill their basic needs. But now, when you move away from the bottom of poverty, right? You move away from the bottom of poverty, you come to a point where I refer to as the non-monkey zone. You know, I always talk about conquering poverty monkeys. So when I talk about conquering poverty monkeys, what I'm always saying is solve your basic needs on time, right? Move away from the place where what bothers you as a human being is what to eat, what to wear, and where to lay your head. The earlier and faster you're able to solve your basic needs, the more you can ascend on the ladder of value as value creation. Okay, so now your non-basic needs are improved basics. Improved. What that simply means is that you can wear one clothes. You can just have one clothes and wear one clothes and all is well, right? But when you're now at the non-basic needs, you now want varieties of clothes. You now want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shirts, you know, multiple shoes. Instead of just a shoe, you now want to have multiple shoes. Instead of just having your food, you now want to have varieties. So rice, you want to cook different varieties of rice. You want to have beef. You want to have different types of protein in your stew. You want to make a soup. You want to have different types of protein. That is improved basics. Because the truth is, if you are at the point where you're just hungry and the only thing that matters to you right now is to satisfy your hunger or you will die, you're not going to be concerned about whether you have protein in the food, whether you have multiple proteins, whether it is white rice or jollof rice. The most important thing to you will be to eat. Even if it is cassava flakes, just to eat it like that. Or, you know, we've had stories of during war times, right, where people are displaced and all of that and they're on the run. People eat grass. At that point in time, grass becomes fulfills the basic human need of food. People sleep in the bushes. People sleep, you know, in very funny places. Those places fulfills the definition of basic shelter, right? People can use leaves to cover themselves or wear one clothes for months. That fulfills the definition of basic clothing, right? But when you're now relaxed, you're in this level now, you're a big boy, right? You're not looking at improved. So you're not looking at having multiple clothes, you know, eating different kinds of food and all of that, living in different kinds of locations. You're now concerned about the quietness of your environment and all of those things. It's because of the fact that you're now operating at the level of improved needs. So one thing you must understand from this second part is that, number one, your wants cannot be satisfied. Don't even try to meet all your wants. All those things that are calling your attention at every time that money comes into your life cannot be satisfied, right? But your needs can be satisfied. And as much as it is possible, very early on, conquer the basics, so that you're not stuck at the poverty line, at the bottom of the poverty line, where you're struggling with what to eat. You know, that's just your problem. No, quickly move over to improved basics. Then we have what is called luxury, right? Luxury needs. Luxury needs. You see, your needs can also be luxury. And what do we mean by luxury needs? Luxury needs is high-end needs, okay? What I refer to as high-end needs. So when I move from just wanting to wear clothes to having multiple clothes, and then I move from having multiple clothes to now being interested in wearing certain labels of clothes, designers, right? Shopping for my clothes from specific places or having specific designers or tailors make my clothes. You have now moved to the area of higher needs or high-end needs. And that is where we talk about luxury. Now, what defines a thing? What defines a need as luxury? It is a price, right? The only thing that defines a need as a luxury need is the price. The only thing that makes a product, a luxury product, is the price. And that's why I've told you before that the term affordable luxury is a statement created by the wealthy, right, to make the middle class believe that they are like them. There's nothing like affordable luxury. Is either something is luxury or is not. In fact, what makes a thing luxury is how expensive it is. The more expensive a thing is, the more of a luxury it is, right? What you need to understand is that luxury varies based on people, time, place. This thing is what varies luxury. For example, some of the things we are using today, 20 years ago, they were luxury things. They were luxurious items. I remember when I was growing up, right? When I was growing up in the 90s, if you go to somebody, if you visit a person's house and you see a color television, that person must be the richest person in the community. Like, you could go to a whole state, it will only be just one person that has a color TV. And if one person has a color TV, all the children in that state will know that, there's one man in so and so place that has color TV. But today, we're not talking about color TV anymore. We're not talking of smart TV. Nobody is really talking about color TV. I mean, color TV is basic. If you're still using black and white television right now, people will look at you like something is wrong with you. Like, I remember when we were growing up, then we had this television thing that looked like a box, a big box, right? I remember my grandmother used to cover it with a green cloth. You dare not touch it. It was like an oracle in the hand. In fact, we don't even watch it. It was just sitting there. I can't remember us really watching that television. It was just like it was like a decoration in the sitting room, right? So, but today we have laptops. Like, I have so many laptops in here right now, right? So, do you call this a luxury? No, it's not luxury. Now, based on time, it is no longer luxury. Based on people, right? Some of the things we refer to as luxury in Africa are actually common things overseas. That's why I always tell people to travel. When you travel and see things, you begin to appreciate and redefine things for yourself. If you go to Dubai, for example, like, some of the things that people use here as high-end luxury are things that people use for play over there, right? So luxury too is a function of people. What these people refer to as luxury is what these people refer to as basic needs, or at most improved needs, right? Then place is also important. Location, luxury is location sensitive. What people in a particular location see as luxury is different from what people in a particular location see as luxury. Now, this is the reason why there is always a loggerhead between the haves and the have-nots people, right? The have-nots, their needs is basic needs, right? Their needs is basic needs. The poor, the bottom of the society, their need is basic needs. The food, clothing, and shelter. And they don't even have those enough. They are struggling with those. Now, for the middle class, right, they are on the improved basics. So they're not concerned about what to eat, what to wear, shelter. They are concerned about varieties. They are still at the point of varieties, right? But for the rich, the wealthy class, the things that they need have to be luxury to fit into their nomenclature. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, right? What they need in their own world, in their own environment, based on their reality and their capacity, what they need has to be luxury to fulfill the definition of a basic need. So someone drives a Rolls Royce, or someone drives an Escalade, or someone drives a Maybach, right? To you, why spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy this car? Why spend millions of dollars to buy this car when you can just buy a Honda or a Corolla or whatever for just a few bucks? But that person at the upper class does not understand why he should be driving a Corolla. Like, why should I drive a Corolla? Like, why? Right? This is what I should drive. In my world, this is what is a basic tool, a basic driving. If I want to drive a car, this is the basics. Right? You even get there, and then there, for example, you have people who are driving Maybach. When you now begin to talk about the improved basics for them as far as mobility is concerned, they're not talking about the interior, how much they spend to customize the interior, whether it has their name on it or not. You look at the plate number, is it a private plate number or a general plate number? That is now when they have moved from basic to non-basic. So what the problem is between the haves and the have-nots is because of the fact that they have not come to understand that the definition of needs differs with people and their capacity. So at every point in time, you need to know where you are so that you can be able to perform optimally at the level where you are. And when you move upwards to a whole new level, do not apologize for moving up and leaving the reality of the place where you are. Now, for those of you who are watching online, in case you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with your loved ones and in your communities as well. And if you love what you're hearing and you would love to be a member of our school, then I invite you to join the School of Money and Investment. The School of Money and Investment is where we take you on a journey to help you understand what money is, how money works, and how to make money work for you so that you can be able to make informed financial decisions as a human being, right? So send a message to the WhatsApp number on your screen right now so that we can give you all the details that you need, or you can check the description to this video or the pinned post to this video. You will get details on how to be a member of the School of Money and Investment and begin to, improve your journey or your financial intelligence, as the case may be.